This segment is brought to you by Manscaped's Crop Preserver, the anti-chafing ball deodorant. This quick-absorbing, clear-drying lotion has been formulated for below-the-waist care to keep your sack smelling so fresh and so clean. Use the promo code SACCITY for 20% off and free worldwide shipping. Manscaped's Crop Preserver ball deodorant. Go ahead, take a whiff.
Cut day has come and gone. Notable names gone. Not so notable names gone. Aaron, what are the names that interest you the most that we are seeing on the market now in the NFL?
Yeah, I'm going to go slow this time. Maybe I spoke a little too fast. My internet doesn't want to act right. Look, we always expect some names to go off, some big names, some smaller names. To me, it's not about necessarily this year's big names. I don't think there's any huge name that I didn't expect. There's two in particular I want to talk about, but I'm going to start with Alex Leatherwood of the Las Vegas Raiders. First round pick, just struggled since he's been in the NFL last season. But to me, this is bigger than Alex Leatherwood. I wanted to kind of take it back to 2019 when Mike Mayock and John Gruden, or Mike Mayock took over as the GM. Cleveland Farrell, Henry Ruggs, Damon Arnett, and Alex Leatherwood. That's four of the first round picks that have been drafted by Mike Mayock since 2018. And four of them have all been cut now for different reasons, obviously. I just think this is a culture thing, and I think it's something that when you bring in a new Josh McDaniels and the GM from New England, and you say, you know what, we're going to try to create a new culture here, I think you start with that. And Alex Leatherwood seemed to be lazy. He seemed to not really have the skill level. We questioned the draft itself when it happened. And I think this is just a sign of that. And to be honest, addition by subtraction for the Raiders blocking, running game, pass protection, I think it allows them to now free up some space and get a guy in there that really wants to earn a spot. So wasn't surprised by it, but there was also a funny tweet about Leatherwood. Ian Rappaport said there was 32 teams they tried to call and 32 no's. Nobody wanted him, basically. They tried to trade him, and really would only been 31 teams. But I think they also looked within and realized, maybe we just don't want this guy anymore. So they decided to cut him because nobody actually wanted him. So good luck on him trying to find another job. But Alex Leatherwood was my first reaction was that. I don't know if you guys will bring up the second one or not, but I'll wait to see if you do.
Yeah, no, I want to, before we go into the next big cut move, I kind of want to stay on this Las Vegas Raiders train here because you brought up something that's very interesting, talking about maybe a new regime coming in here and really just getting out with the old, in with the new. The Raiders did make a trade that did send Trayvon Mullen to the Arizona Cardinals in exchange for a 2023 7th-round pick. AJ, I am going to go with you. I'm going to go to you in just a second about the cuts. But Aaron, you said pre-show that you actually like this move. Is it for the fact that it's a new regime in Vegas, or more on the Cardinals side?
I like it from both perspectives, actually, because I do think it is a new regime in Vegas, and I like that they're bringing in new guys that fit what they want to do. But we talked about that Arizona Cardinals secondary needing some help. You only got guys like Antonio Hamilton, who we don't know much about. Buda Baker's obviously there, Jalen Thompson, and then Marco Wilson's their other corner, Byron Murphy in the slot. But I think this gives them some depth. I think Trayvon Mullins has the skill set to be really good. There were times that he was really good, and then times he wasn't very good. So kind of an up and down path for him so far. But I really like that Arizona tried to add some depth pieces there to get some more talent in the building because they know where that's where they're lacking. And then again, for the Raiders, it's just about, hey, let's cleanse this stigma of we can't win, we get these bad guys, and this previous regime, at least for the guys that are expendable. Obviously, you're not moving guys that are talented, like super talented or star players, but some of those players that were just kind of on the fringe, not really living up to their potential, you go ahead and you move on from them.
Sorry about that big blunder there. I did not notice that was a thing. But no, I think this is a great move for the Arizona Cardinals. I mean, you look at their secondary; it needs some potential in there. It needs some talent, and I think Trayvon Mullen can do that. And I do like the fact that Vegas is just saying, you know what? Let's get the stank out. Let's just get the stank out. AJ, the rest of the cuts that popped up, other than Mario Goodrich, because I know we're all heartbroken over that one. What's a notable cut that really has your mind turning?
It shouldn't shock people, but it's one of those names, and it's Sony Michel in Miami. I mean, they had running backs out the wazoo, though. The Raheem Mostert to Chase Edmonds, who I like, Sony Michel. They still had Myles Gaskin there. We saw Salvin Ahmed run pretty hard for him. But Sony Michel came in as a round one, as a first-round talent. He was a guy who played quite well his first couple seasons in New England, and we liked what he was able to do for the Rams when he was given the opportunity. So, I thought he came in and had a good chance to make that team, but they were just so deep. And, if it's his blocking, if it's his injuries, one thing after another, he just didn't cut out for that. And I think the other name that I look at is another running back, and it's Phillip Lindsay from the Colts. I thought they brought him in to be a spell type guy, and we've seen him have a good season too, but maybe that was just a flash in the pan. It's not names I'm like, oh man, I can't believe this happened, but they're names that stick out. You thought when you saw that those teams picked them up that they would probably be there when the season started, and both of those guys being gone, I think some teams will take a chance on them, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I think that this is, bless you, what a guy. What a quiet sneeze, too. He didn't even mute himself, just such a quiet sneeze. Yeah, no, I think that's the Sony Michel one was interesting, and I thought about it deeper, and I was like, this probably came down to cutting Sony Michel or Raheem Mostert, and the only thing that put Raheem Mostert over the edge here is the familiarity with Mike McDaniels and that offense. And because to me, I looked at that, I was like, man, I would keep Sony Michel over Raheem Mostert. Like just the experience and the skill, what we've seen from Sony Michel before. I think he's a better running back than Raheem Mostert because he's on the field more.
I think I don't disagree with that thought process of that Sony Michel is a better running back than Raheem Mostert. I don't think it came down to Sony Michel and Raheem Mostert. Raheem Mostert was never going to get cut. I think it came down to Sony Michel and the other two guys, and Myles Gaskin and Salvin Ahmed. And I'll be honest, the reason that they probably beat him out is because they're more versatile. They're better out of the backfield in the passing game than Sony Michel. Let's be honest, they're faster than Sony Michel.
But we've seen it with Sony Michel though.
What have we really seen? What have we really seen with Sony Michel?
Last year he didn't have a terrible season. Would have to go back and look at his stats.
When you justify somebody's, we've seen it before with didn't have a terrible season. That's not saying we've seen it before. What have we actually seen from Sony Michel? He's never ran for 1,000 yards. He was good in New England. He ran well in New England, but again, a product of maybe that New England system. I don't know that we've seen really all that much from Sony Michel. And I'm not saying I don't like him because I actually do. But for me, it was about versatility and what the other backs are able to do out of the backfield specifically. With Myles Gaskin, he really became a really good pass catcher his last couple of years when he was the guy. Wasn't a very effective runner, but we obviously talk about their offensive line. So that was big for me. I think this came down to a numbers game and what those other two can do that Sony Michel cannot do. Not that Sony Michel's not an in-between the tackles runner, and I do think he'll get a job somewhere.
That's fair. That's actually kind of where I want to wrap things up here with is out of these cuts, who would you give out? Like, if you could find a perfect situation for any of these cuts that you'd want, no? Anyone? No, they all just...
No. I'm just not letting you go there. We have to talk about Marlon Mack getting cut. And Damien Pierce season, baby. It's now official. Damien Pierce season is here. I told y'all after 4 carries in the preseason opener, I said, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. This is Damien Pierce's team. There is no doubt about it now. Even though Lovie Smith did not want to come out and say this was Damien Pierce's team, he said all he needed to say when they cut him, because you look at the other backs on that team, in a Rex Burkhead, a Dario Gumbawale, and then a Royce Freeman way behind us, 4th on the depth chart. Rex and Dari are not every down backs. So they're more 3rd down, go out and catch it out of the backfield type. Damien Pierce is that pounder. Damien Pierce season. That's the only thing that matters really on this list. And I was not going to let you go out without saying that. I will give it your name.
Really? No. Let's stop with the disrespect because really the only name that matters is Mario Goodrich. Come on to Jacksonville, Mario Goodrich, please.
Come on, no, you're going to make Jacksonville's defense worse, and I'm on record saying they're going to be better.
Come on, man.
I do think there's somebody that gets a job. Bring that list back up. I will tell you, I think 3 players that get jobs. Well,
Sony
they'll probably more of them will get jobs, but
right.
Sony Michel.
I think these will be quick jobs. OJ Howard will find a job. Logan Ryan will find a
Yep.
job. And then I do believe that Anthony Harris will find a job. Veterans in this league usually find spots for themselves. The other guys,
It's going to take a minute. You're going to need to see some things happen for some people get knocked out of the way before they kind of pick up some jobs. And I mean, like the thing with Alex Leatherwood, you'd think people would be clamoring to go pick him up. But like we said, we're talking about work ethic, though. I mean, you're talking about a first-round pick who's still young, and Seattle thought they could make something out of Drew Lock, and I know that's different, but you talk about a first-round pick and a guy that you knew had talent in Alabama, maybe your system or the way you work, people can come in. People do that, man. People do that. He's still young, and he's had one shot with one team. So, I don't think they're calling it quits on him yet. For a trade, no. When it was very apparent they were going to let him go, you wait around and you pick him up and see if he can get his shit together when he comes to your squad. But so it may not be right away, but I do think somebody will probably take their shot on Alex Leatherwood. He's just too young, and he's shown that he has it. He just has to really want it.
Dallas is going to sign Kellen Mond, and I'm just going to pull my brains out.
Mississippi State. Well, that's the Mississippi State connection, though.
Yeah.
Dak and Kellen Mond. Maybe you can show them the ropes, but
Gross.
But that does it though for our cut day coverage.